Hi guys, I've got myself another prime lens for my cameras. This time it is the new Ttartisan's 1.8 35mm prime lens, which comes in this lovely orange box. So I'm going to have a good look at it, images and quality, that sort of thing. I'm going to tell you why I got it, and then you can decide whether or not it's any good for you. So let's get unboxing it and have a look. Okay, so when I say about the box, it is a really nice box. I like the fact that it's thick, solid, and well put together box, which is a bit strange considering it's coming from China. But it is a Ttartisan. It does say on it what it is. It's a Ttartisan A35mm f1.8 Mark II. This is the second version of this lens. And on this side, it gives you the details saying APS-CE orange. And you can see that the box is orange, clearly. Once you've opened it, inside you can see we've got an instruction manual, which is in both English and Chinese. Quite nice. Then we've got a sort of few warranty card details and stuff. Great. And then we've got our lens underneath in this packaging, which, as you can see, very well packed. First, take out this. This is our crushed can lens hood, and as you can see, it's a bright sort of a yellow, dark yellow, so yellowy orange, which I suppose is where they get the orange from. And then our lens, all packaged up, nice and neat, is a orangey yellow and red lens with a very big lens cover or base cover on it. The reason the base cover is quite large is because you turn it around this side and it's actually got a USB port in it, so you can actually update the lens because it's a new modern lens. Unlike my other older lenses, this one's a new modern one. You can update it via USB and update the firmware in the lens itself. So it doesn't actually say on the side anywhere on the lens around here that it's a Ttartisan's. It only says that on the cap at the top, Ttartisan, and when you open it up, Ttartisan, and then it tells you here it's a, again, AF 3.5 1.8 ED lens, and it's a 52mm thread filter, which is really useful because my other Sony lenses aren't 52mm. So this one being a 52mm, I can use a lot of the filters that I've got from the Pentax. I have a lot of 52mm filters, which is quite nice. And take the back cap off, and you've got the back, the contacts, but it is all nice metal construction. The lens itself is metal. It's very solid, very strong, as is the mount. Sometimes you get plasticky, nasty mounts on these things. This one, although it's only a cheap Chinese lens, it isn't nasty. It's built very, very well, very sturdy and very strong. It just happens that this particular one is the limited edition orange and red. Is it a McDonald's colour? Kodak maybe? It's very similar to what Kodak colours used to be fair. But overall it looks really good and it's really, really well built. If you stick the lens hood on, you've got a little mark down here, a very tiny little mark, and that matches up to the circle. Click in place, and then you've got your crushed can lens hood. It looks odd because it's square, but then that's a field of view. None of this blocks the field of view of the camera itself or the images you get. Why did I need another lens? Well, for the Sony, I've actually only got two lenses. I've got the 18-55 zoom lens from Sony, and I've got the Sigma 19mm prime 2.8 art series. I did previously have the kit lens, the 16-50, but I broke that when I dropped the camera. Funny enough, about, I don't know, 100 feet from where I am now. So I was due another prime anyway, and I thought, why not a cheap Chinese one? Because the Chinese lenses are a lot cheaper than the normal Sony, Sigma and other brands. One of the things with this also is that it's a 1.8, so it's a very, very low aperture. My lowest on the Sigma is 2.8. On my Pentax, you know, I've got a 50mm 1.8, and I've got some 1.2s, 1.7s in manual lenses. And I thought, yeah, now's the right time to buy them. This is a new lens. It came out this year. One of the reasons why I've gone for it now is because previously all of these Chinese lenses, Ttartisan, Mieke, and all those brands, Viltrox and so on, are normally manual focus lenses, which isn't a problem because the Sony is very, very good with its focus peaking, so you can really get some decent, sharp images even in manual focus mode. But they suddenly started producing a lot more AF or autofocus lenses. And the autofocus lenses from them aren't that much dearer or around the same price as the ones they were doing when they were doing manual lenses. So I thought, well, why not? It seems the prime opportunity to get a decent lens from a Chinese manufacturer. And the image quality I've found is really, really cool. I like the image quality. I like the colour separation and the colours you're getting from it. It's a nice rich tone from it, which I really like. So overall, it was definitely worth getting. So of course the big question you're asking yourself is colour. Why the colour? Well, Orange Pop, as they call it, is a limited edition colour. It actually costs about $30 or £30 more than the standard colour. They do silver and black in their normal range, and then they do this as a limited edition. It is a bit of a change from the normal lens. If you looked at one of my previous videos, I have actually recently bought a red or bright red lens for the Pentax. So this isn't overly unusual for me. Some people say it's a downside to buying this lens is to have this colour because it means it draws attention to the camera. Well, it's going to draw attention to anything. So I'm not fussed about it. I'm actually just cool that I actually got one, and I like the fact that it's different than the normal standard lens. Some downsides which are quite annoying, to be perfectly fair. One downside is at the lower apertures at 1.8 or at the higher apertures 16 and around that area, it does vignette. You get sort of framing around the edge of the picture, but you can cope with that and you can zoom it out and crop it and stuff, so that's not a big problem. The biggest thing I have an issue with, although I'm going to live with it, is the lens hood. The lens hood is great when on the camera, produces nice images, it cuts the sun out perfectly, but it doesn't store on the lens. So when you undo it and take it off, you can't put it back on the lens like you can with other sun hoods, stroke lens hoods and that sort of stuff. It's a bit of a pain if you put filters on it. If you put a filter on the front of the camera, like a skylight filter or a circular polarizer, and you want to leave that on the lens with the lens hood on, you can't. The lens hood doesn't like going over any filters, and it's incredibly thin. So it's a little bit of a problem with that. And then the big problem is you've got to carry it around with you. So when you put the lens cap on, you can't put this on when the lens cap's on either. Things I like about it. It's a very low aperture. 1.8 is really good for separation and for blur, background focus, stuff like that. I also like the fact that at night, 1.8 is going to get me better low light images, hopefully. I've done a couple, they seem all right. I quite like the star effect you get from the lights at night. That's quite nice. It's also very lightweight, so I'm not fussed to have it on the camera. It looks big, but it's not as big as you think it is. It's actually very light on the camera, very pocketable. And of course, price. Less than £200, $200. You're getting a great lens for the money, and it's really well built. It doesn't feel like a cheap Chinese lens.